Hey, it's Ramsey Dewey over here in Shanghai, China at the UFL gym. Let's talk about the footwork for a straight right hand. Specifically, a question I get a lot. Ramsey, why are you moving your feet when you throw a straight right hand? What is that all about? Because I heard this other guy on the internet say that we should not lift our feet up in the air when we are throwing a straight right, because that's weird and that's less effective. And that's correct, but it's also confusing to a lot of people when they see correct footwork. So, what am I doing with these feet? What is that? You ever heard of a trigger step or a falling step? That term is usually associated with the lead foot when we throw a jab. Notice, I'm not close enough to hit the heavy bag right here. So what do I do with my lead foot? I take a little step closer, boom, and now I can hit it. And look, I stepped out of range because boxing is the art of hitting, and not being hit. So I step into range where I can hit the other guy, and then I move out of range where he can't hit me. And everybody should understand you can do this with the left hand, with that jab. It's not too hard, right? Boom, okay. But did you know you can do a very similar thing with your right hand? Notice I'm out of range. Even if I fully extend the hip, if I twist that hip and pivot on my toes and all that good stuff I'm supposed to do, I still can't touch the target from here. Right? Can't touch it at all. He's too far away. He is at that range where I cannot touch him. So I'm going to take a little step here. That trigger step, which brings my shoulder closer to the target, which also brings my fist closer to the target, but does not bring my head closer in a meaningful way that would be dangerous to me. Because one of the worst things you can do is try to extend your reach by leaning into it. And unfortunately this happens. A lot of people drop their hand and bring this arm up here trying to reach the other guy. Sometimes it works out in their favor, and a lot of the time it does not. So keep your torso vertical as you move around. As you're striking, we are going to pivot on this axis right here. Imagine you have a stick from your head, through your neck, through your spine, through your tailbone, down through the floor, upon which you are pivoting, okay? And we will keep that posture unbroken. Even if you are bobbing and weaving, the posture remains unbroken. The head, neck, spine, and tailbone remain in a straight line. So it's really more of a bow than a duck, if you will. Because if I do this now, I can still move my feet, which is supremely, crucially important. Now, back to the straight right. I'm at a range where I cannot touch it with my right hand. I'm just barely out of range by an inch or two. So I extend my range with this right trigger step. Boom! And some of you might be thinking, but Ramsey, aren't you lifting your foot up in the air? No, I'm kicking the floor with the ball of my foot, very much the same way as you would for a front kick. All right, with the ball of the foot. Hope you saw that clearly. Now, this tiny little step, it's small, it's subtle, but it's powerful. So when I throw a 1-2, I'm going to take this little step into it, amplifying my reach by just enough so I can hit that target and then move immediately back to this range where I cannot be hit. So I throw this 1-2, 1-2, I hit him, he wants to hit me back, he swings back, I'm not in position to get hit anymore, so what do now? Boom, boom. We hit him back as he's coming in. The most effective time to hit someone is not when they are standing still, not when they are running away, but when they are coming toward us. Somebody asked me yesterday, Ramsey, how do I amplify my power as far as punching goes? And my answer was very simple. Hit the other guy when he comes toward you. Notice this bag right here. Boom, I can hit it full power and okay, whoop-de-doo. But get it swinging, boom, hit it when it comes in. And what happens right there? Boom, we have just amplified the force because boom, I've got force coming toward me and I've got boom, force going into it. And now those forces are meeting in the middle. And so what happens? Boom, magic. No, not magic, physics. Physics, my friends. This little step, it's subtle. And I may be exaggerating it a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. Here's a big exaggeration. Boom! Okay? Huge exaggeration right there. Step, down, push into the floor, explode the energy up and out. Right? Through this foot. Down, up, boom! Right? We're going to make that small and subtle and quick. So it not only boom, amplifies our reach, which is probably more important than amplifying the power, boom, but it amplifies the power too. Good deal, right? And even better, it doesn't put you at a greater risk of getting hit because it keeps my head out of striking distance. See, when I step in for that jab with that falling step, I do take a risk. I close the distance, but I also bring my head and myself just this much closer to the other guy, which is enough for him to hit me, okay? But what if I fake right here by not throwing it with that falling step, and he thinks, oh, he's coming in. He throws a counterattack and boom! Or maybe he throws a counter jab and I parry that and boom, step into it with that trigger step. Okay, this takes a lot of practice like all other things. One of the most common questions I'm asked, Ramsey, doesn't that off balance you? Aren't you up on one leg or something? No, you're on two legs. And you're in a nice, stable stance. It's a fairly narrow stance, but you should get used to fighting with narrow stances, okay? You don't have to fight from a big, giant southpaw stance like Guillermo Rigondeaux, right? That guy's so good at head-tail pivots, man. That's why he's doing that big, wide stance. If you don't know what that is, get into a much more conservative stance where you can move much more quickly. Small steps are quick steps, right? Big steps are slow steps. You might have seen Muhammad Ali, right? This famous clip where he's doing a hip switch. And he does it a whole bunch of times in dress shoes, without a warm-up, right? On live television. And a lot of people are just so transfixed on how fast his feet move, they forget why he's moving the feet in the first place. Watch his right hand. What's that right hand doing? You'll notice he's just outside of the reach of that TV host that he's playing with right there, right? But he does that switch step, and he brings himself closer at the end so he can touch him, right? The primary function of footwork is to put yourself in position to land a strike. And the purpose of the switch step is to move your feet closer to the target so I can hit it without having to lean into it and sacrifice my safety and well-being and my brain and do something really, really stupid, right? So I'm keeping myself up there, right? I'm moving my feet around in these different patterns. He might even get fixated on the feet. Ooh, what are those feet doing? And you don't have to switch step 500 times like Muhammad Ali. One good switch step is enough. Or maybe if you throw that a few times throughout the fight, trick him. Oh, look, that switch step doesn't mean anything. You know, that's just me playing. Look, I can't even touch you with this jab. Look, man, look, just kidding. I got closer while you were distracted. To illustrate the point of footwork, I'm putting down two of these red paddles. The one closer to me signifies I'm out of range. The one farther away from me, closer to the bag, means I'm close enough to hit the target. So pay close attention to the feet. When I do the switch step, then I put myself in position to hit the target. And sometimes I do it just for show as a feint or a fake. A feint is something you do to draw your opponent in, to make yourself seem vulnerable when you're really not, when you're preparing a counterattack. A fake is where you essentially falsely advertise something. So my objective is to move inside and outside of the pocket with this hip switch. Once outside of the pocket, signified by the red pedal on the floor closest to me, I can hip switch or even do a stupid little dance to set up my right hand. Thanks for watching. Now get out there and train.